Greetings, denizens of the realm. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Maybe not. Okay, what am I doing wrong? Bear with me as we sort out some technical difficulties. Hello, 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 welcome. Can anybody see me? Can anybody hear me? Hello, hello. I don't see my face in the horizontal. Let's see if I can fix that. There we go. All right. Are we finally good? Are we finally good here? I'm sorry that this took a little bit longer to get started than it was scheduled for, but welcome! Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I appreciate everyone's patience. And welcome, denizens of the realm, to State of the Realm 2026. All right, we should now have face cam. If you're on mobile, you should see the vertical. If you're on horizontal, you should see a horizontal now. It should all be one. This is why I had technical difficulties, because I finally have a single chat and a single live stream instead of having to do the two stupid live streams thing that we've had to do for a while. Hello. All right. I think we're looking good. Hopefully. I think we're looking good. Welcome, everyone, to the State of the Realm 2026, the first inaugural State of the Realm. I saw some people speculating in the chat what this might be, and you're all pretty much correct. The State of the Realm is going to be a little bit of a showcase of the world, maybe for people who haven't seen certain aspects of it. It's going to be talking a little bit about stuff I've been doing for the past 6 months, the past year. And it's going to be a little bit talking about stuff that we want to do next and want to do going forward. So welcome, 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 welcome. And we have some fancy technology, and I tried to do too many new things at once, which is part of the reason that we have the technical difficulties. But look at this. Is this going to work? We've got a live castle cam thanks to... Wait, hold on. We've got a live castle cam thanks to... Hold, please. Our camera account. How do I do this? Hey, there he is. Will Outtake himself, the creaking who stands off in the distance and records all my time lapses. Will Outtake is standing on a happy gas out here, providing live coverage. So I'm going to be floating around with the happy gas as we're flying around with our actual character here. We're doing fancy stuff here, real fancy stuff. Hopefully it works. Hopefully this is not a total disaster. But welcome. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so happy to have you all here. It has been a wonderful journey of getting to know some of your names. I was going to say your faces, but let's be real. Some of your names, some of your icons over the past several months and over the past year. Charlie, great to see you. One of the members of the Awakened. Perhaps you'll get a chance to join him today. Welcome, Mr. Penguin Man. Welcome, Andre. Welcome, Maureen. Welcome, everyone. Potato King. Welcome, everybody. I am so excited to be here. It has been, all of a sudden, it's been a month since the last stream, which is insane. I was like, okay, I'm a week away from finishing my next video, and then it took me a month to finish it. But here we are. And we're going to talk about what that video was, what we did, and we're going to talk about a bunch of other stuff, and that is the focus of today's stream. So welcome. We're checking in on the realm. Welcome, everybody. I see some people trickling in. Wonderful. Hopefully this is a better, more seamless, unified experience. That's all I can hope for. YouTube finally gave me access to this feature where we can have both the mobile users and the desktop users together in one chat, which is the way it should be. It's the way it should be. Hopefully everything sounds and looks good. I think from my end, things are looking pretty good, so I'm gonna get started here. All right. Someone actually cares about Bedrock. It's true. It's true. Is it the sunk cost fallacy? Maybe. Maybe a little bit. But do I love Bedrock? Yes, I do. Because that's where I live. I live in Bedrock. So here we are. And here we are in our throne room. We are in our wonderful throne room, which is certainly majestic, isn't it? Look at these pillars. Look at these majestic throne room pillars. We've got a broken one. I want to double check my brightness. I got to check everything. I got to make sure everything's correct before I... Oh, that's way too many. No wonder everything's chugging along. All right, renderedness is good. Brightness good. Wonderful. I'm going to do the same on the other computer real quick. I know, I am using 2 separate computers for this nonsense. Let's just double check our brightness. 30 brightness, wonderful. I think we're looking good. I think we're looking good. And here we are in our majestic throne room, listening to our dramatic orchestral music in the background. At some point, maybe I'll swap it out for something a little bit chiller. But for now, we're celebrating, and I want to try something, and I don't know if this is going to work. Do I even have the resources for it? I don't know. Do I have any snow? I don't have any in there. Do I have any snow in my stone box? Because where else would you keep snow, obviously? All right, 2 of those, and 1 of these, perhaps. And a couple of fence gates, maybe. Or not fence gates. A couple of glass panes. Because I want a royal subject to be addressing. A royal subject. Nope. I put it on. Oh, I'm not tall enough. Oh, I'm not tall enough. I need a royal subject. All right. Hello, you're my royal subject. It's important to tidy as you go. Otherwise, everything becomes chaos. All right. Hello, my royal subject. Have you come to petition me? Have you come for the state of the realm? Because welcome to the state of the realm. And the state of the realm for you is I reject your petition. I don't think they can see him. They can't see him because of the glass. They can't see him because of the glass. Everything's fine. There we go. I'm sorry. That was a little bit cruel. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. Pull the lever, Kronk. Wrong lever. Everything is burnt. Wait, is fire tick on? What is happening? I don't typically keep fire tick on. Okay. That's what the lever does. It's true. All right. I'm sorry that was cruel and violent, but here we are. Sometimes it's funny to do stuff like that. Unfortunately, I lost my I lost my carved pumpkin now, but that's okay. Welcome to the state of the realm. I am going to walk down to our castle bedroom as I tell you a little bit about what we're going to do today, because we are in our wonderful castle, and that was our throne room, of course. And if we head down, actually, I just realized that my bedroom is upstairs. Those technical difficulties definitely did not totally throw me off. We're going upstairs to our bedroom, to our wonderful castle bedroom, to sleep through the night so that we can start our state of the realm in a fresh, beautiful morning. And here it is. This is my wonderful castle bedroom with all of my nice little trinkets and things. I've got a cabinet I could put stuff in. I've got my wonderful giant 4-poster bed. I've even got a little vanity. Oh, I'm excited for cushions. I'm very excited for cushions, though I'm a little bit scared of cushions. But let's take a nap. Those were indeed pop-up blazes. Yes, they were pop-up blazes. It's important to have defenses in your castle. All right, here we go. So, the first question that you might be asking is, what is this place? What is this place? Where are we? Who am I? What is going on here? Welcome to our Vanilla Survival Bedrock Edition realm. This is the realm of which we will be assessing the state. Our Vanilla Survival Bedrock Edition realm, where I have been building a bunch of random nonsense that I've tried to somewhat thematically tie together for going on 7 years now, if you can believe it. I started it in 2019, which is just insane. Just insane. But here we are, and I want to talk a little bit about the various projects that we've got kind of in progress, some of the things we've done recently, some of the things I'm excited to do soon, and the place to do that is up there at the very tippity tallest top of the tower. So let's go in here, take a quick elevator ride up. I'll walk us through our little castle den here, which is one of my favorite places, a nice little sitting room. But we'll head up here. And this is the war room, the room where we plan our conquest. And I don't think this map is fully up to date. So maybe one of these days we're going to have to update this. And that could be kind of fun to do and see how things have changed. Because yeah, definitely, at the very least over here, we got some new stuff and we'll talk about it. But instead of staying in this room, I'll take a quick look out over my kingdom. So I'm going to talk mostly about things that are going on around the castle. But I think it would be unfair to not give the castle its due first and appreciate the majesty of it. So let's switch over. Let's switch over to our ghast cam here. And hopefully I've done this correctly. We can just get on the ghast. Wonderful. So this is it. This is our glorious vampire-y castle that we started working on almost 7 years ago, which is just kind of insane. And it has come together bit by bit over all that time. And there's lots of little secrets, lots of little interesting rooms and chambers and various things inside of it. And some of them I've shown, some of them I have kept a little close to the chest for now, and maybe you'll all see them someday. But this is obviously the heart and the center of the realm. So let's give a quick fly around, look at the castle, and just kind of take in the majesty of it. And this is, I just, again, to break the illusion here, I'm just a guy wearing a creeper mask so I can hide in a creaking mask so I can hide in the distance, sitting on a ghast and floating around because these are the sacrifices that we must make to maintain a vanilla survival Bedrock Edition realm. But that's the fun that we have here, isn't it? That's just the fun and the constraints that we impose upon ourselves for the thrill of them. Because there's plenty of people who are doing, fancy servers with all sorts of crazy add-ons and all sorts of crazy stuff, but this is stuff that you could do, theoretically, You could do this stuff. Anyway, this is our giant castle, and yes, it is quite gray. I would not say that this is up to my current building standards necessarily in terms of shading and texturing and kind of detailing. I think the shape is quite cool. Quite cool. Is it perfect? Maybe not. Maybe there's some little weird edges. There's some big flat sections and stuff. But I think generally it looks pretty chaotic. It looks crazy. I was kind of going for a vibe that looks like the Castlevania castle from Castlevania, specifically from the Netflix Castlevania show, which I was a big fan of when that was airing. But that was kind of the main inspiration for this. I wanted a bunch of crazy pathways, walkways, going every which way. towers that feel like they defy gravity, you know? And I think it turned out pretty well for that. Are there things that I want to improve? Yeah, sure. There always are. Always. How long did it take to start such a build? I mean, I built this thing one little chunk at a time, and eventually I had a giant castle. And as it started to come together and more pieces fell into place, I had to take some steps to make it a bit more cohesive, you know, like figuring out which areas needed pathways connecting them, which areas needed a giant hot air balloon sticking off the side of it just to throw things together and to pull the whole build together. This area down here, for instance, we'll talk about a little bit later, but that was meant to be a full constructed extra kind of wing of the castle, but I didn't like the way it looked. So instead I was just like, I'm going to destroy it and it'll just be the ruined wing. And ultimately I think that's way cooler. So I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, this is our castle. Trying to keep it centered for the vertical folks here. The black beacon beams are not my favorite part of this world. Originally, there was a bug, I guess, in Bedrock Edition where if you placed the beacons at the very bottom of the world, the beams wouldn't render if you were like higher up. So I used to just get all these wonderful beacon effects without having to have a bunch of unsightly beacon beams all over the place. Unfortunately, that changed at some point, which is okay. You know, they fixed the bug, I suppose, and we should applaud them for that. But it does mean that I have these unsightly beams here, and I changed them to black because I thought maybe it would look cool, but I don't think it looks cool. So I think I need to either... I would love a vanilla way to hide beacon beams, but if we're not going to get that, which we're probably not going to get anytime soon, I may end up trying to find like a resource pack that hides them. I may just cover them and, you know, block them off and give up on having the beacon effects. I'm not entirely sure. But I do think that they're doing a little bit of a disservice to the base right now. They look pretty bad. Most of my builds are small, so I want to try making grander stuff, but it's a bit scary, LOL. Yeah, I get that. I get that. I think you just, like anything in Minecraft, you start building something really big, and then you're committed, you know? I mean, which isn't to say you can't change anything, but the first step in any big project is always just going to be starting it. So if you just build a giant square or a giant cube or something, then that gives you something to work off of. So there it is. There's the castle. And if you're interested in seeing more of the specifics of the castle, I recommend checking out the Reclaimed Castle. It's one of my videos. It's at this point probably about a year and a half old, but it's still a pretty accurate walkthrough of a lot of the cool stuff that exists in the castle. And we're not going to talk too much about that stuff today because really it's the stuff around the castle that I want to focus on. But we've got lots of cool stuff. We've got, you know, an airship that is also secretly a creeper farm. We've got a great hall and a throne room and this war room here that you saw, and there's bedrooms and there's various chambers and there's a mob farm built in. There's storage systems galore and stuff like that. We're not going to get too much into that today because I really want to talk more about the realm as a whole, if that makes sense. But the way that we're going to do that is I'm going to go ahead and go up here to the to the tippity top, tallest tower of the castle. And you can see all these signs, and these are what I'm going to look at mostly. But before we do that, I want to go up to the very top so we can see. Ah, yes, what a beautiful realm. What a beautiful realm this is indeed. Even though there's clouds blocking my view. But so there are a couple areas of this realm. And by that, I mean this Minecraft realm. Not necessarily this lore realm. But there are a few areas of this realm that are in distant places that I'm not going to so much go check out today. Unless we have some extra time to get to it. But since I had technical difficulties, I would not be surprised if we do not have time for these. But there's a couple of things I want to mention. The first, the End spaceship. If you're interested in learning about what this is, check out the video on my channel called We're Moving to Space. It is one of my favorite videos I've ever made. I'm so excited and proud about the storage system that we have in our spaceship in the main End Island. So if you haven't seen it before, check it out. I hope that you will find it just as cool as I do. And I have some ideas and some plans for some crazy technical stuff to add to that on top of the crazy technical stuff that's already there. So stay tuned. Hopefully there'll be another video where I add some crazy technical stuff to the end by the end of the year. Hopefully. So there's that. Maybe we'll go there at some point just because we need items. But if not, know it's there. Check it out. You can also always go to willawake.com. Check out the map. It's also, you can go to Willowake, which is like willowake.ke basically, with the, you know, the dot before the KE, or you can just go to willowake.com. There's a map of the realm. You can look at the spaceship. You can look at the castle. You can see a bunch of different shorts. It's a little bit outdated. I have to update it with some of the latest shorts and videos and stuff, but I'll do that eventually. I'm going to take a quick nap while I'm up here, mainly because I don't want my camera account to get attacked by phantoms. So I'm going to keep sleeping a lot. Did you finish the decoration for the spider farm yet? I sure did not. So that's going to be one of the things that we talk about today. But just to go through these things up here, the other different realm that we have, kind of Minecraft realm, the other dimension that we have is the Nether, obviously. And I have grand ambitions to make a bustling Nether bazaar where we have a robust piglin trading apparatus. And oh, look at that. My camera account just got an achievement for playing for 100 days. How nice is that? That's crazy. I have plans to make a big bustling piglin bartering system in the Nether. There's some lore around it. I have lots of building ideas, but it is not really started at all. So we're not even going to think about it today, but I can show you. You know what I should do is I should get my spyglass out. I think we're going to need a spyglass for this. We have our main portal to the Nether over there, and that portal, which I like to call the World Gate, which is something I stole from RuneScape, which was probably the game I was obsessed with before Minecraft. The World Gate leads to what will eventually be the Nether Bazaar, but for now, we're not going to touch it. Next, Shining Barrens. Shining Barrens Resort and Casino in our distant Mesa. I'm sorry to say, oh no, it took me so long to get that one painting. Anyway, we'll put that there for now. The Shining Barrens Resort and Casino is another super big, quite ambitious project that we have in this world, which in the lore is kind of styled as being a virtual reality place where you can go and have a modern casino experience, despite the fact that this is kind of a medieval world. So that's, I've been doing some stuff there. I'm excited. We'll probably do a stream where I just talk through some of the stuff I've done over there at some point soon. But for now, again, it's not the state of the realm. So we shan't be talking about our casino games. You love the space vid. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. It is one of my favorite videos. It is basically a single, yeah, it's a single player realm for all intents and purposes. Though my fiance has been offering to go mine diamonds for me, and I might take her up on that. Because it is genuinely, that and nether quartz are the two resources that I need the most, that I never want to grind for. So we won't be going to the Shining Barrens, which is also where I need a lot of that nether quartz for. But they're going to add concrete slabs and stairs. I can't believe it. I'm shocked by this. I'm so stressed out about all the varieties of wool and concrete that they're adding because I don't. I built the craziest storage system, and I like already don't have enough room for all the new stuff they're adding, which is insane. But we will talk more about the casino another day. And then lastly, the Swamp House. If you've caught a stream where we went to the Swamp House or the Haunted House, you may know that there's another area of this world which is just kind of a purely horror-focused, spooky, haunted house. And it doesn't really fit into the lore of the castle and everything. It's just kind of, I wanted to also build like a Resident Evil style, spooky, creepy, haunted house thing. So I still have a lot of ideas and stuff for things that I want to do there. And we'll make it back there eventually as well. But again, it is not the state of the realm. This implies you need chests upon chests of cushions and stairs. I'm so stressed about all this stuff. All the new stuff. I don't know. Yeah, I know. I'm going to need to I'm already going to need to add a new attachment to the, actually, it kind of works out because some of the, I don't want to give away too many things, but the kind of big, crazy technical project that I'm planning to add to the storage system in the end is something that will kind of help with some of the different block varieties and stuff. And that's all I'll say about it. All right. So those are the kind of compass points up here. I can't believe I broke that painting. Those are the compass points up here to the distant places that are not in the immediate vicinity of the castle. And we won't be talking too much more about them today. So we are going to head down to the next level of this uppermost chamber. I guess it's also worth mentioning. It is also worth mentioning, and I'll switch back to the castle cam for this. It is worth mentioning that one of the grand ambitions I have for this place is to do more shading and texturing of the castle itself. And that is going to be a very slow and very painful process. But I do want to do it. And because it's the kind of chore that I will probably never do unless I force myself to do it on stream, I'll probably do it on stream at some point, or little bits of it on stream. So get excited for that. We might be doing more floating around on a happy gas, putting deep slate and stuff on this castle. But I do think it would be fun to give this thing kind of a fresh coat of paint, if you know what I mean. So anyway, that's all I'll really talk about the castle itself. There's the castle video if you want more about it. There's the storage system. We're moving to space video if you want more about any of the storage tech and stuff in this world. And then what I'm going to focus on now is the other stuff. So let's go back to where I was. Okay, I'm doing my best to make sure I'm always actually streaming the view that I think I'm streaming. Just chatting stream with Minecraft remodels in the background. I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. Okay, so I have been repurposing this area down here because this is the very top of the castle, right? If we fly out for a second and take a look back, right? This little chamber up here. Oh, hey, guy. How you doing? You doing good? That's great. This top tower here has a really nice view of everything in the realm, and it's all kind of centrally located. So I made these little cutouts, which because the wall is there, you can't walk through unless you shift to walk through. So it's kind of nice. It's like you can have a little place where you can look out and get a clear view of something in the distance. But then if you want to go through and actually go over to it, you can just crouch and go through and fly to it, which I think is pretty cool. It's very simple, but these little quality of life things can add up and make things very pleasant. So I wanted to have a place where I'm actually tracking the stuff that I want to do in this world. Okay. So that is what I'm trying to do here. And so I've put some signs around, and that's what we're going to be talking about. Since this is the state of the realm, we're going to be talking about all the ongoing projects and some of the ideas that I have for them and some of the stuff that I've done recently in each of those projects. Okay. So I'm going to just work my way around this clockwise, starting, I guess, in the south, which is the destroyed greenhouse. And this is what I was mentioning before, where there's this broken down castle wing where there's a lot of potential, I think, but I have done very little. I've done very little with this. So let's actually take the ghast over here, get a flying view of this. I want to try to get better at the lead thing. Right? Because if I could actually lead this guy over here. Can I undo it? Okay, what if I just rock it? Well, it'll break. And then, can I land on him? That was pretty good. That was pretty good. Okay. I think that's kind of the best option we have in terms of quickly moving the ghast around. It's a little bit messy, but here it is. This is the ruined wing of the castle, which I have started calling the destroyed greenhouse, because that's kind of the best idea that I have for it currently, is the idea that maybe before we landed here in this realm, this castle, which had previously been abandoned by its former vampire inhabitants, you got to know the lore. You got to know the silly lore. But maybe this used to be a greenhouse that... Okay, and then I have to do this. And then I have to do this. Yes, wonderful. Okay, so there's the greenhouse. I'm going to take a quick nap. I should just keep my bed out at this point. I just know that inevitably the camera account guy is going to get hit by a phantom and fall off the ghast and die and ruin my stream. So I'm going to try to just keep sleeping. But here we go. This is the destroyed greenhouse. You can see there's Will Outtake watching us up there, but there's not much going on here. You can get to this wing of the castle directly from the Great Hall, right? This is where I sometimes start our streams. This is where I have feasts and various celebrations. There's Wilbo. And if you come up this way, it leads right out to the ruined wing of the castle. And I think I'm leaning towards the idea that this maybe once was a big greenhouse that went deep down into the earth, which maybe is, not how greenhouses really work. But the idea being that maybe, all the plants that they needed to get a lot of sunlight would be up towards the top, where there were these big tall windows to let light in. And then maybe there were older plants or different plants that, need different, maybe more magical situations or partial shade or what have you. And maybe that went all the way down here. But then, because we ostensibly crashed in this world from our spaceship at some point, I'm thinking that we crashed into this thing. Because I feel like that just makes sense, right? The good thing of fantasy bills, they're not real. Yeah, exactly. Right, Charlie? Salute to Will Outtake. Maybe the reason this part is destroyed is because a meteor hit it. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Either a meteor crashed here that we were inside or something, or we had a little UFO or some kind of spaceship thing that crashed here, broke it, and maybe we repurposed it in some way. Maybe we just kind of let it be destroyed. But what this thing hides down here is a big area. And I want to quickly pop around and show you the only real official way in to that. Hello, how did you get here? So this is the waterfall that is ostensibly kind of the main entrance to our base in a certain sense, because when you're coming from the overworld, other than flying, which I think the vampires who lived here before would have done mostly, frankly, but if you're not flying, you have to kind of come in some way. And this is a way in that leads into the courtyard and leads into the castle. But as I'm sure many of you have seen in an old short that is still my most viral short of all, we have a secret back here. Come on, water. Come on. Come on. You can fully fall before the... Oh, yeah, this broke at some point. Some update broke this. I'll have to fix this because it used to split the water correctly. There might be some smarter way for me to do this. But anyway, normally supposedly this is supposed to fully clear the water out so that we get an actual walkway here. Unfortunately, it seems to be broken. But if you walk through here, you can close it behind you. And it leads into this underground tunnel, which has a few little points of interest. There's like an amethyst geode down this mine shaft here. There's some stuff out there. There's like some little farms here. I have like hedge clippers for my glow lichen and my root. What are these called? Roots? Hanging roots? 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 Something like that. My roots. That's where my roots go. That's where my roots are. But we also obviously have this. And you've probably seen this because it's my most viewed short by far. But typically this door would be closed and would look just like a secret little area, a closed little wall. But when I throw the magical item in, we actually get this secret doorway opening. And previously, this was just this tiny little pen where Hybris, our super fast horse, resided. But a lot of people seeing that short said, make Hybris a bigger house. And you were all right. You were all correct about that. And so Hybris, whoa, Hybris! Ah! Oh, man, that's so fun. Hybris has a nice, big, spacious start of a room here, which clearly needs a lot more stuff. Maybe a spiral staircase would be cool with that idea, says Charlie. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think like a spiral staircase either going up the middle here or going around the edge here. Lots of little like walkways and various little areas that might have been used to cultivate plants, stuff like that, right? And an idea that I have is that if the UFO or meteor or whatever it is somehow wedged up there at the top at the crash site, you know, maybe some of its intergalactic magical fuel is leaking down or something. Who knows? Who knows? But maybe, you know, something like that is related to why Hybris is such a speedy boy. I don't know. That's the idea. Obviously, this is a very early stages project. This music is weird. All right, let's switch over to chill music time. Right, so this is a very early stages project, obviously. And that's one of the things that we'll see in this state of the realm 2026. We're going to see that a lot of these projects are in varying states of completion, right? This is just a big hole at this point and some ideas. Some other things are significantly further along. So we'll see that stuff as we go. The other thing worth mentioning up here is obviously Shell Out himself, our little super chat turtle, our little baby super chat turtle, who is usually the subject of our super chat goals. I'm not going to try to do one of those today, mostly because I got derailed by all my technical difficulties and I don't want to waste any more time. But I think it would be nice to sort of turn this old, abandoned, broken, destroyed greenhouse into a menagerie for all of our favorite pets and animal friends. So as with any idea, anything that we talk about today, I want your ideas as well, please. Any ideas that you have for any of this stuff, throw them in the chat. If you think of them later, comment them on a short or a video. I read everything. I will see everything. So I'm here for it. Maybe the vampires kept horses there so they can get blood whenever they want without having to go to the village. Dark but cool. Dark but cool. Hybris is just built different. Yeah, true. An alien emitting lights would be really cool. That's very true. And yes, of course, Shell Out. We love Shell Out. We do love Shell Out in this community. All right, so this is pretty much all there is to show about the destroyed greenhouse. Something that is cool is that this spot right here frames the lighthouse in the distance over there, which I built recently. We'll talk about it in a second. But if you haven't watched it yet, go watch the video because I spent a month making it instead of streaming. So go watch the lighthouse video if you haven't seen it. We'll talk about it more in a second, though. The other thing that I think is kind of cool is like where the glass is broken here. the water kind of starts to flow down. We have this little waterfall that goes all the way down here, and it ends up in this very serene little muddy area of the courtyard down there. So I like when the different parts of the base kind of just blend together with little details like that. It makes me happy, and I find it satisfying. And I also put a little elevator shaft right here, so you can pop down here. And this is another way where you can kind of head down if I wanted. There's like a little staircase that leads down to this area underneath the big tree down here, which is kind of cool. And then even back over here, behind this giant waterfall there, we have a little secret entrance, which if we pop through here, we end up in the castle, in the library. Look at that. You had no idea that was there. This broken staircase that you can't walk up actually has a secret little path that leads out to the courtyard. How cool is that? One of those little things that I just love because it just makes the place feel more cohesive. And I love having different ways that you can walk and run between different zones. And then, of course, I can take this elevator back up here and get a beautiful view of my camera account staring at us. And this is another one of those, if you've seen the latest video, the lighthouse video, I talk a lot about vantage points, and this is a really cool view. And I think it means that there needs to be some focal points here to draw the eye and something in the distance, probably. But like I said, early stages, we need a lot more ideas here. So let me hear them. Let me hear them. All right, moving on as we continue our State of the Realm 2026. So we can see crashed UFO is an idea I have. Some sort of shell out sanctuary, of course. Just coming up with a block palette in general for what that area is going to look like is on the to-do list. And building some kind of cool Hybris house down there is, of course, also on the to-do list. So let's take a quick snooze, and then we will continue onward. All right, next up, as we rotate around our room here, the distant farms. And I'm going to come back to this because... No, fine, we'll talk about it now. The distant farms. Can you even see them from here? No. There are some weird, ugly farms in the distance over there. And I want to make something that looks cooler. It's pretty much that simple. These are some ideas that I've had. A giant kraken, some kind of a fishing platform, some kind of an oil rig, if there were a way to make a medieval oil rig. That could be cool. Ooh, a floating island as the vantage point of the ruined wing. That's a really cool idea. Some alien technology holding it up since it's close to the crash. That is really cool. It's also like the vampires seem to have some like, floating, like they have some floating tower technology too, almost. Like this castle is kind of non-Euclidean. I don't know what you'd call it. It's Escherian, let's say. I'm so pretentious sometimes. But the vampires seem to have some kind of technology too that allowed them to build these crazy structures. So like maybe there's some crossover there, right? Could be really cool. So let's go look at the distant farms. I'm not going to bother trying to take the camera count over there, but you can see these are them, and they are not very good looking, right? These are my farms out in the ocean in the distance here, and it's really 3 different farms. Up here is a simple little phantom killing chamber. I can just come up here, and then thanks to all those magma blocks down there, we do actually get phantoms that spawn out here, even though we're very high up and there's no land around. We get phantoms that spawn out here. They come, they try to attack me in this glass chamber. They get stuck up here. I can kill them. It's a semi-manual farm, but it already got me pretty much all the phantom membranes that I need to fill up my boxes. So that's one part of this. Down here, the pool, this spawns squids, as you can see. There are a bunch of dead floating ink sacs there. And that's because that I originally built this out here to be a squid farm primarily, to get a bunch of ink for black dye. But I think, okay, yeah, I have plenty of this, plenty of this. So I don't really need that. So like it's very rare that I'm ever going to have to come AFK at this squid farm again. And then of course, the next layer down, as I'm sure you can already see, this is my turtle farm, where I have a bunch of turtles. They're all laying a bunch of eggs, and we collect every time a baby is born. It tries to go down that hole in the center because it's trying to get out to the ocean. This is based very heavily, pretty much exactly, a Silent Whisperer farm concept. So check out Silent's video on it if you're interested. But basically, a baby swims down there, tries to escape. Instead, it gets stuck, and then eventually grows up and drops a scute. And I'm trying to collect those scutes. I have a chest somewhere. Hey, with you know, a handful of scutes. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. So that's what I'm farming out here. Not the most glamorous stuff, but it's important. And clearly I built it pretty close to the mainland here, which I did not need to do, but I did do. And so from this little spot next to the lighthouse, which I'll talk about more in a second, you can see it very clearly right there. And I kind of designed this little spot to frame it intentionally, in part because I wanted to force myself to actually ever do anything with it. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. I don't really have a plan. I don't have a solid idea yet. So I'm interested to hear what you think. And yeah, I think, you know, someday we will decide what we're building out there, and we'll start working on it. And I think that'll be pretty fun. Right now it's quite pie in the sky. But there you go. Ideas: Kraken, fishing platform, oil rig. Any other ideas you got? Let me know. I'll throw them on the list too. Let's see what we got. Oh, hey everyone! Look, there's so many people. Welcome to the State of the Realm. We are just going around. We're talking about ongoing projects, stuff I've done recently, and stuff that I'm excited to do next. I love your redstone designs. Thank you so much. How do you have so much magma? I get it from... I think I actually just go to the Nether and I mine it. You can get a ton of it. Yeah, you can like insta-mine magma blocks with efficiency 5 in the Nether. Considering the size of most of his builds, I don't think he's one to not mine. You're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about that. I do in factory chat, and yes, I try to catch up when I can. And yeah, maybe we'll see the redstone activated beacon again too. Oh, maybe it's not an oil rig, but instead a blood rig made to take the blood of the ocean creature. Not a bad idea. Something a little bit... I like the idea of like a Lovecraftian monster rising up from the deep. If you've ever played the game Dredge, I gotta stop starting my sentences that way. I don't know why I always do that. What I will say is I played the game Dredge and I really enjoyed it. And there's a lot of very cool, like, ocean-based Lovecraftian vibes and sea monsters and strange eldritch creatures and stuff. And the idea that like maybe there was a Kraken, but maybe they're extracting something from it or something along those lines could be very cool and could fit into the vampire theme and could kind of fit into the idea that like we as the Minecraft builders or whatever we are kind of came here, took over this castle, and are continuing to exploit all of the technology and resources to our own ends. All right, so next up, the lighthouse. And here's where I will plug again. My most recent long-form video is called The Painted Lighthouse. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. I'm very proud of it. It's one of the videos that took me quite a while because I'm a perfectionist. And I'm proud of it. So check it out. I hope you like it. It was a little bit of a Minecraft task that was outside my comfort zone, which was doing some of the texturing on that lighthouse. And in fact, I think we can remove some of these. You can see I'm using the little code symbol thing here to do different colors. So you can do this symbol and then 8 to make it a nice gray. There's like all these different colors that you can do. Very cool. So let's change this because we've done the texturing and we also did the paint spiral, which we'll go look at and I'll talk about a little bit in a second. But yeah, bridge supports and interior. These are the two outgoing things, or outstanding rather, things to do here. And let's try this again. Let's actually bring in our ghast. I'm going to try to do the lead technique, and hopefully I'll just keep getting better at this. And the lead will break. And then I find my ghast. Oh, he's all the way down there. Wonderful. Yes, so here we have the painted lighthouse. The latest big build. And maybe it's not even that big, but to me it feels big. I haven't done much that's like this scale and this kind of prominent in the world a lot recently. So I am quite proud of this. And this is our painted lighthouse. And I was very excited to use the new Cinnabar blocks to make this red painted spiral that goes around the lighthouse. And I also really was trying to push myself with the shading and the texturing. And if you've seen the video, the way I did it was kind of in 3 passes. I went through and I did like a texture pass with just kind of just adding noise with some stone and andesite and stuff. And then I went back and did the shading on the left side with the tuff, the deep slate, the blackstone. And then I went through again and actually painted on this spiral, painted on the spiral with these Cinnabar bricks, which I think do a really good job of, they to me totally look like someone just painted some red paint on top of stone bricks. And I tried to make little drips and like little details and some dried out spots and lots of texture just to make it kind of feel good. And I'm really happy with how this came out. I'm really happy with how this whole bluff, whatever you want to call it, this whole kind of mountain in the distance came out. And something that I think is really cool about it is how many different like there's so many spots in this world where you see it in the distance. Let me switch back here. Yes, right. So, and I'll show a couple of them that I really like. Like, I mentioned right here when you're in the broken, the destroyed wing, you can see the lighthouse through there. I think that looks really cool. I think the fact that you can see it through the Great Hall windows. If I come over here and I'm looking out the back of the Great Hall, you can see it there. I think that's very cool. It's really framed nicely. And it's just, yeah, it's really cool to have a focal point in the distance. It's something I see in a lot of video games, and I'm happy that I was able to make something that kind of tried to capture that vibe a little bit. All right, I'm going to sleep and I'm going to catch up on some comments here. Favorite redstone build that I've done? It's got to be the spaceship. The spaceship, the factory under the spaceship specifically is really cool. If you're interested in more about that, I'm not going to get over there. I'm not going to get there today, most likely, but my video, We're Moving to Space, goes into the detail of that, or into a lot of detail about that. Let's see. You should definitely get invited to Hermitcraft. I mean, hey, I love Hermitcraft. I watch a lot of the hermits. If I had more time, that would be thrilling, but I don't think I'm on that level. The lighthouse went really well. Thanks, Maureen. I really appreciate that. A video with Moxmop. Hey, yeah, I look, if any popular Minecraft YouTubers approach me, obviously I would collaborate with them in a heartbeat. But, I've got 30,000 subs. Yes, the code can be gotten with Aldo167. That is very helpful. Thank you for telling the folks that. I really appreciate all the kind things that people are saying. You'd definitely be friends with Mumbo and Cub. That's funny. I mean, I love all the hermits. I really do. Oh, you all are too sweet. You all are too sweet. All right. You know what I gotta do? I need to do this. If I can. How do I do this? For being so sweet to me and for saying that I could be friends with the hermits. Here, 5 people. Enjoy your gift memberships. I hope some people who are active get them. Welcome to the Awakened. Welcome to the Awakened. The benefits, there will be more benefits. You know, maybe I'll end up doing some like members only, lower effort, like streams and stuff at some point. Who knows? I don't know. No promises. But right now, the perk is that you get to watch the videos a couple days early. So, but really, it's just it's a nice way to support me. But also no pressure, obviously. I'm just doing this for fun. How many days do you have played in this world? Way too many. I have like, I have so many hours in this game. You're my favorite YouTuber for real. It's so refreshing since it's Bedrock and you're just so creative. Thank you so much. That's really kind. Really, really kind. All right, let's keep going. Yes, there's lots of cool places you can see the lighthouse from. I want to go look at I haven't looked in the cathedral. Some of you may not even know I have a cathedral, but I do. We have a cathedral here. Can you see the lighthouse in the cathedral window? Not really. Okay, well, that's kind of a bust, but that's okay. Look at that. You can just barely kind of see it. Play the organ while I'm in here. All right, I gotta not get distracted. All right, we're moving on. Uncle Alert. Jam friend, thank you for the Unk Alert. What a delight. What a delight to be called an Unk. Charlie, that's really kind. I appreciate it. Oh my gosh, Jules. Okay, so yes. So the lighthouse. This is the major new addition to the world, obviously. And I'm really proud of how all the texturing and everything turned out. I'm really proud of how the terraforming turned out down here. Someone commented who was like really mad that I used really mad's an overstatement, but they were disappointed, let's say, that I used spruce slabs here. But I actually don't mind them. I think they look kind of good and with path blocks. I don't know. I don't mind them at all. And then, you know, there's this vantage point here, back here that we talked about where you can see those farms out there. Still need to do any interiors at all. That we have room for a big cellar down here. It could even go deeper, who knows. We've also got a spiral staircase here, which I think is pretty good. Like, this works well. And then you come out into the lighthouse itself, and obviously we still got to do a bunch of stuff here. I was playing around with like a copper spiral staircase for in here, which might look cool. Yeah, I'll keep tinkering with that and see if it comes together. But it's going to be tough. Like, unless I think there's going to have to be another layer of blocks on the inside here. And maybe we'll use a lot of shelves to try and get as much space back as we possibly can. But it's going to feel tight in here, especially if we want to go up much further. But that being said, I was watching this tiny house show. I was watching this show called, I think it was called Tiny House Hunters. It was a stupid reality show, but it was very entertaining. And there was like a tiny house that was in an old lighthouse, and it made me want to build a tiny house in there so bad. Like, just try to squeeze in all the modern conveniences into a tiny little lighthouse. Of course, how would we fit that into the lore of a vampire world? I don't exactly know, but sometimes you got to just do things because it's fun. In settings, you can turn on days played. Yeah, I used to have, I think I broke it. I don't have a dumb looking pirate guy here. I think I broke it at some point. I don't know even where do you even see achievements? Okay. Oh, I still got to do this. I need the stupid silence smithing template, and I don't like going in ancient cities. I don't think this is even gonna load. I think I've had this world for too long. I broke Bedrock. Classic. I am an uncle. That's true. I'm surprised I talked about that. Glow squid farm in the cellar. That could be cool. Are we getting a new long vid for the interior? Yeah, maybe. With the long videos, it really just depends on how everything lines up. You know, something that I've found recently is like, I don't want to stop myself from playing because I'm worried that I want to make it a video, you know, if that makes sense. I found myself doing that a little bit sometimes, where I'm like, oh, well, I can't build anything here, or I can't like build this new contraption because I need to like do it on stream or like make it into a video. And I think like I'm just gonna have to find that balance of, you know, sometimes there will just be stuff that I do because I just want to play Minecraft, you know, and I don't want it to be a whole thing. I just want to play this game that I love. And like in those cases, maybe like we'll just showcase stuff that I've done on stream, or like have a video where I showcase stuff. You know, or like showcase some stuff and then build one part of it or stuff like that, you know? But I'm trying to find that balance. I wish you had more saved edited videos to watch as well as streaming. I get it. I totally get it. I mean, I get it. Part of the problem is it just takes me a long time. Like I put a lot of effort into editing, and it takes me a while. And, you know, I think, again, I'm similar to what I was just talking about. I want to try to find that balance of like not every video needs to be a super totally high effort, like Lighthouse level video with time lapses and all that, you know. Some of them could just be edited highlights from a stream. I might do that with this, with the state of the realm, you know, we'll see. I love watching your content because it's Bedrock and you're one of the few real Bedrock players. Yeah, I'm just a Bedrock player. I'm just a real Bedrock player. For silence, it's kind of lame, but you can dig a hole down into an ancient city, place some water, and build a ladder and set your spawn at the top. Oh yeah, I might have to just do that. I think I've been like kind of wanting to not just cheese them, you know, because it's like there's so much cool environmental ambience and stuff. But yeah, I think that's true. Okay, we got to keep moving. So the only other thing that I want to mention here is that the other aspect of this kind of area that I want to think about a little bit is these bridges, these stone walkways. These are actually one of the oldest things in this world. When I first started this realm, it was actually me and two friends, and the other two guys kind of got, you know, into it for a time, at different times, various times, whatever. But one of the guys, the first thing, really, his contribution to this realm is this stone walkway here. It goes all the way from the back of the castle all the way over here and up there. And it's like, this is like an ancient part of this world. Like this was built in like 2019. So I want to honor it. And I want to also kind of make it majestic. And so I think I do need to add a little bit of like structural supports here. You know, even though I was talking about the vampires and their floating technology, I do think that like a little bit of structure here would be good. I think like probably an arch here could be good. And I think that with like a little bit of tidying up of this area would really kind of close the book on the exterior there, which I think would be great. So that is the Lighthouse Bluff. The Lighthouse Bluff. Can you walk us through your water elevator in your castle? Honestly, maybe I'll make a tutorial for that, because that's one of the earliest things that I ever wanted to make a tutorial of, and it was before I was really comfortable making videos, so I never did. But I think it could be cool. And there's like a lot of different modules. Like some of them will stop automatically at a floor. Some of them will just stop and then keep going in a second. Some of them will stop and you have to push a button to go. There's like ones that go up, ones that go down. There's like skulk sensors and stuff. So yeah, that could be a good thing to do a tutorial video on someday. Maybe I'll try to do that before the end of the year. You know, no promises, but I've been trying to figure out what another good Awaken class video to make would be, and maybe that's a good one. Loot every chest and place a block on them to mark it. Yeah. Decorate around the bridges and keep them the same. Yeah, I think that's the move. I've like done a little bit, like, you know, I've like changed some of them slightly, like, you know, move the torches around and stuff, but I think just the path that they go is really is kind of ancient and historical at this point. All right, back to our toppest, tallest tower we go, and we shall continue our state of the realm. Where am I going? Okay. Where am I going? All right, we got a lot to get through, so I'm going to keep going. Pirate invasion. The pirate invasion. Let's go back here. Because this is the pirate invasion area. And there's not much going on here yet. It's mostly just the ship, obviously, which is huge and an incredible build. And someday, hopefully, I will find the proper attribution for that specific model, which actually my other friend built quite early on in this realm from a blueprint, and I think it looks super awesome. And it's one of my favorite parts of this world. And it has really kind of defined what this area, you know, is going to end up being, because I think that the idea that there are pirates coming to invade is a cool concept, and it kind of fits into the lore, because in my mind, this all I don't want to get too much into the weeds here of my stupid lore that exists only in my brain, but the kind of main idea is that when I don't know how much I want to get into this. Basically, you know, the Nether Bazaar I was mentioning earlier, where we have trading with the piglins. The idea is that maybe some of them came through to our side, obviously turned into zombified piglins, maybe became a bit more hostile and aggressive or something as a result. And in time, given a couple centuries, developed a seafaring pirate society. So, so zombie piglins are my pirates here, and there are none yet, really, on the ship or anything, but there should be, I think. And we can start to put together, like, we could throw some captains and first mates and stuff in there. We can do some lore around that. I think that'd be fun. And I think just turning this whole area into more of an active battle would be really fun, too. So let me switch back here and go check out the ship a little bit, because there's a couple cool things here. I haven't done much over here recently. Obviously, the lighthouse is a part of this area, kind of. And in the lighthouse video, which you may have seen, you know, I focus a lot on this view specifically, because I love the idea that, like, the zombie piglins are coming to try and free maybe one of the prisoners, one of their allies who's in our prison down here, which you can just see through there. And maybe they have sent their reconnaissance people to come and get him back, or what have you. But there are some fun little details here that I haven't talked about too much on stream. One being, you can actually go down here, and I made a little pirate campsite. Little pirate campsite area here with the gold sword, because that's what the zombified piglins would have. And these little hammocks, which I think work okay. You know, this one that kind of looks like it's hanging up there is kind of cool. Maybe there's better ways to do it with some of the newer blocks. But the other thing that's kind of cool, I think, is that if you come and stand on these little dinghies, I left some ender pearls in these chests, and I made it so that one of my kind of rules in this world is that you should pretty much be able to walk everywhere without having to jump, without having to fly, without having to really, well, those two things, without having to jump or without having to fly. But obviously for like the sea, it's a little bit trickier, but I thought it could be fun to put some ender pearls in this chest here. And then I have these, you can just barely see them. There's target blocks. There's one there. There's one there. But if you aim right at the target block and then throw your pearl, look at that. It takes you perfectly to the next dinghy. And then from here, again, there's more pearls in here. I can aim directly at that target block, throw my ender pearl, and it should take me right onto this dinghy. And then, oh my gosh, an endermite. And then I can climb right up onto the boat. And I think that is quite fun. And then, of course, we've got these cannons, which are super tiny little clocks. So they actually can power the dispensers with fire charges at the end. And if we turn this on, right, we get a bunch of fire coming out. And that's how the ship is attacking the shore, you might say. Let me double check that we've still got some music going here. Yes, okay. What's in the tent? Oh, yeah. I'll come back to that in a second. Yeah, what's in the tent? The tent is, I guess, I'll just close the loop here. And then when you're ready to leave the ship, you can go back down. And again, there are target blocks, and it's different blocks this time, obviously. But again, you can just throw the pearl right at the target block, and you should go directly to, and that's why there's one right there. You should go directly to the next dinghy. And that way, it still feels like you can kind of get there. And in the lore, it's like, I'm just taking the boat out there, right? You gotta make some sacrifices for the sake of the lore. But I think that works pretty well, and it's pretty fun, I think. But yes, the tent. This is an important detail, because the back of this castle here has this drawbridge, and the tent, which I want to kind of redo. I think I actually finished building this tent before the sails of the ship were fully done, and the sails I think look way better than this looks. So I do want to try to adjust this a little bit, and I might honestly reposition it slightly, because I think it kind of blocks some views, which in a way I don't love. But hopefully, are there any... Okay, yeah, there are still flints and steel in here. Wonderful. So what this tent is actually, secretly, if I turn it on, it's a zombie piglin spawner. So you can see it's lighting and breaking a bunch of these nether portals in here. And these piglins are gonna keep falling kind of into the middle area here. And hopefully I still have a trident in there. I'm not entirely sure. There's supposed to be a trident in the middle there. But the way it works basically is, let me get my bow. When you turn it off, it stops spawning them, and now the system is primed. And there's a little trident killer in there with the trident that I threw. Though I'm not sure if the trident is still in there. It might have fallen down or something. But the idea is, as soon as any one of them walks out, or you walk in, you step on these pressure plates, it activates the trident killer for just a second, just enough to hit one of them, which then makes them all aggressive to you. Yeah, I think the trident despawns. So I'll just hit one of them myself. Okay, there we go. And then so look at that. They're all aggressive to me. They're supposed to all be aggressive to me. Instead, they all just killed each other. What the heck was that? Okay, yeah, so now they're all aggressive to me. And so look at that. All the pirates start following me. Come on. This is not working as well as it's supposed to. I feel like the spear guys kind of broke it somehow. But yeah, look at this. So we get a bunch of pirate guys following us with their swords. We can run. And then as I'm running to take safe haven in the castle, quickly I shoot up there, and I missed, of course. Oh no. And then it launches. It's supposed to launch a TNT. Maybe it's out of TNT, actually. All right, come on. That's no good. That's not acceptable. Let's see what's going on up here. Are our TNT launchers empty? Oh, they finally ran out of TNT. Well, I don't think I have any TNT on me. Unless maybe I do in my utility check. Oh, look at that. We've got some TNT. Okay, we can do this. We can do this demo. All right, let's restock this. I'm going to need to remember that I need to put more TNT in there. You know what I should honestly do is put some crafters back there and have it like... I should have it automatically craft TNT now whenever it runs out. Maybe the piglin pirates aren't evil. They just want to be able to enjoy the cold of the castle. Yeah, I don't think they're evil. I think they're just confused and they don't understand how much more advanced than them I am as like an alien who came and took over a vampire castle. All right, let's try this again. I should really just like go get a trident and put it in there so it works, so it really works correctly. But hopefully we can still demo with just a couple of them. Or just 2 of them. Did this break? No, it's working. Okay. All right, we'll get a couple of them. We'll get yeah, there we go. All right, let's try this again, just so that the people who haven't seen this before can see it in action. Let me... Boop. Boop. Come on out. Oh my gosh. Wait, that's way too fast. These little babies are so funny now. All right, sorry. You're going too fast, little baby. Okay, I gotta go. All right. And we shoot. We miss. Oh no, we miss. Oh, and I die horribly. Okay. It happens every time. I don't know why. I think I'm not going to die when I'm playing that little mini game. Okay, we're taking the back door. All right, well, you get to see a little different area of the realm where weren't planning to talk about today. But if I go this way at spawn instead of towards the castle, it leads me over to this little bamboo jungle here. How cool is this? And then there's a little campsite here, nice little spot, lovely. And then a nice serene pool. And if I jump in the pool, I can swim in and around and down into the deep, murky depths. And this is my bamboo farm. Beautiful, wonderful. There's also the farm itself over there, where you can watch all the bamboo get broken. But I just want it for the nether portal. I can never hit those target blocks. I don't know what's wrong with me. I used to be better than this. Maybe I need like wind charges, or I don't know, something that goes straight. Because they've killed me so many times. They've killed me on stream at least like 3 times at this point. Okay, so this is a little shortcut through a very boring, undetailed little nether tunnel here. But when we come out, we emerge at our main nether side portal hub. And if we go through these portals, we'll end up in our Castle Eerie, where the portals match perfectly, of course. And I am going to grab some rockets, and I'm going to grab an elytra, and I'm going to, I don't know, grab a bow and arrow or something. Because there's definitely going to be some piglins wearing my stuff, and they're going to kill me if I get too close and I'm not careful. Do I have anything? Sure, a loyalty trident. That'll do. Hello, you baby with my sword. I can't believe the baby took my sword. Well, enjoy this. This is gonna be bad. Is this baby gonna kill me? Is this We're not doing the loyalty trident move again. Stupid tridents. I can't believe it. How tough was it matching up those portals? It was a total nightmare. It was a total nightmare because they're not actually perfectly positioned. The ones in the nether are slightly off and on a completely different Y level, and it's yeah, it was a nightmare. They don't perfectly line up, but the illusion is still pretty good. Do you put your nether hub at the top or the bottom of the nether? Yeah, so it's a related question. Basically, when you go through the nether portals from the overworld side, you actually end up at a different portal that's up at the very top of the nether, and that leads directly to like my fast travel areas. That's right up there. But then if you come down here and go through these portals, they take you back to the overworld and they line up better. So it's a little bit of like, I kind of did the best I could with what I had to work with. I can't believe that baby killed me. All right, we're going to get a, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get an elytra and some rockets. Why did I should get a totem. Yeah, that was not my best. That was not my most smart play. All right, we're getting arrows this time, and I'm going to get a bow. All right, fine. We're going down. We're going to do the thing. We're doing the thing, everybody. We're doing the thing. Ah, here we go. The break glass in case of emergency glass. Great. The bad news box. I'm going to grab a bow of bad judgment and a totem and leave it at that. Now, is this bow indicative of how good this decision is going to be in hindsight also? We'll see. I'm going to try to get a high vantage point and just take the baby out. And I have rockets. Wonderful. All right. Take 3. Take 3. Okay. Hello, baby. With all of my stuff. This is why I couldn't hit the target. Are you kidding me? There we go. Well done, baby. You made a nice challenge for me. And now I gotta get all my other stuff quickly. Okay, wonderful. And there's probably some stuff down here too. Yes, of course there is. There always is. All right. We'll keep looking for a second. And then I'm going to check my inventory. I would love to not lose anything. All right, we'll put the elytra back on. I need to stop taking off my totem. I always take off my totem because I'm like, oh, I don't want to have anything in my hand when I'm looking at the audience. So stupid. And okay, do I have all of my stuff? Do I have everything? I need to put it all in the correct spots or I will never be able to tell. I feel like I am missing some stuff. There's more stuff over there. Yes, okay. Oh yeah, there's more stuff over here. I feel like I'm still missing my helmet. How far did this stuff get blasted? They really did a number on me. Where even was that? It was like it was right on the bridge, right? Pretty much. Okay, what am I missing? What am I missing? I have ender pearls. I have food. My bed. As long as I have any boxes I took out. This was my bow. Oh, not my bow of bad judgment. My elder short bow, of course. The tool belt, the bed. Okay, we got all that stuff. I feel like I'm missing my helmet. Maybe my helmet just exploded. But it's got to be around here somewhere. I'll look for a second more, but then if I don't find it, it was just a gold helmet, so it's not the end of the world. Anybody see a gold helmet anywhere? The baby should be first mate. That's honestly a great idea. I should try to spawn in a baby, and maybe it could be at least first mate, like maybe captain. After that performance. Did something go in here? Has it been 5 minutes? Could my helmet have just exploded from the damage? Possibly. All right, well, clearly I'm never going to be able to do this properly. So let's just show what it looks like if you're better than me at this game. Basically, what I was trying to do was hit the... There we go. Hit that. TNT comes flying out. It blows up the bridge so they can't get to you. It also blows them up and instantly makes them not hostile, so it kind of works perfectly. And then this is a basalt generator hidden in here, so I can just go back here and push this button to repair the bridge when I'm ready. Yeah, I thought I had a helmet, but it really doesn't matter. If it was gold and I accidentally put my gold helmet on, it's very possible that it just exploded. So I'll just have to make a new one. It's not the end of the world. Okay, so let's keep moving because we've got more things to talk about. But anyway, yeah, this is the pirate invasion zone. And there are a couple other little details here. You shall not pass. Yeah, exactly. There are a couple little other details here. Like, so from this little campsite area that we were looking at before, if you continue along the river, and I don't have a fun little ender pearl trick for this, unfortunately, at least not yet. Maybe someday I'll have like I want to do one of those things where there's like a boat that's attached with a lead to something that's like underground in a minecart and gets pulled around. I think that'd be really fun. But there's another little dinghy here, as you can see. And this one leads into this different cave. Oh, mysterious. And this is not particularly done yet. I don't think I even have any minecarts up here. But basically, you could take a little minecart ride down through this ravine. And it leads to... Oh, there's a minecart. It leads to this spot, which is directly underneath, if I keep swimming, it's directly underneath my treasure vault. So naturally, of course, the pirates are trying to tunnel in to get my treasure, because why wouldn't they? And this is also where we have that secret prison vault, which you've maybe seen in other shorts. There's a different way in here through the prison itself. But I like the idea that the pirates they're trying to break their way in an unacceptable way. But more to do here, clearly. Does this work? I'm not going to make it. So this could be another little mini roller coaster thing too. Maybe I could add some fun little details to that. So there's more to do there. I haven't worked on that. I haven't done anything there in a really long time, but it's another little detail. So that's the pirate zone. The only other thing that's kind of in this area that I haven't really talked about, I guess there's a couple things. One is this area over here, I was kind of thinking could be like where the pirates have like a pirate cove set up, because it's kind of cool. But maybe for the lore, it's like kind of silly. Like it's so close. Like why would they build a ship and go like that? You know, like they probably wouldn't. So maybe it doesn't make sense from a lore perspective. Keeping the prison next to the treasure vault is certainly a choice. Yeah, it's a pretty bad idea, I think. It's a pretty bad idea. This is also down here is what I like to call the spooky hole, which is my skulk farm, which you maybe have seen in a short. I won't go into too much detail here, but basically you can turn this on, a bunch of things start dying, the skulk spreads, and then you can harvest it, and then these walls can replenish themselves because they're all secretly stone generators that can refill all of these walls in this whole area. It's very cool, if I do say so myself. But that's kind of the end of this area. So let me go back up here and let's keep moving. I can go a little bit longer than usual today, but not too much longer. So we got to make sure that we're actually making progress. So that is the pirate invasion. Improved tent, as I mentioned, definitely want some short offenses. I think we want like some cannons and stuff that are firing back at the pirates, stuff like that. I kind of like the idea of having some big statues or something here on the two sides of that kind of cove over there. But I'm not entirely sure. Originally, I was thinking like those two big statues from Lord of the Rings, but I'm not sure it would really fit. So I don't know. Let me know what you think your ideas are for that. We've also got... Oh, right. I want to build an entire... So one of the other parts of the lore, in my mind at least, is that this is like one of two ships that they sent, and one of them probably crashed like right up against this thing. And they've been harvesting the sails and the rigging and the masts and the wood and everything from that ship to build their infrastructure, their like invasion infrastructure on the land, which is why the tent kind of looks the same, right? The rigging is the same. You can imagine the tent is made with the same sails from the ship and stuff like that. So I kind of want to make a whole wrecked ship, which would be a crazy building challenge to like take this build, which is like a blueprint, like a really, really good, really well thought out build, and like try to make one that's like crashed and broken using this one as a reference. I think it could be fun. Obviously the ship interior, huge. And of course the gold heist, which you saw as well, which I think could use some work. But yeah, that's pretty much the pirate invasion zone. So moving on, and we're getting pretty close here. So the airship hangar, that is this. And our industrial area has a couple cool features. And right when you come out from this part of the castle, the first thing you see is this big structure here with like a crane. I think that's a pretty good crane. Though I do think that the thing that the crane is holding gets a little bit lost against the water tower back there. So maybe I need to change the materials that this is holding to a different wood type or something that stands out a bit more against that background. Or even make the chain thicker. I don't know how I'd do that. Anyway, food for thought. There's a crane there. There's also obviously a roller coaster up here. And I'm sure you've all seen it, but if not, let's ride it because it's fun. And who doesn't want to ride a roller coaster? But one of the ideas that I have up here, this is where I keep my happy ghast. He's not in here right now, but he lives in this minecart usually. There he is with Will Outtake on him. But the idea that I have is because we have this big warship hot air balloon up there, which is our creeper farm, I like the idea of having more hot air balloons around. So it seems to me that this would be the place where they're maybe launching them from. Or us, I guess. This is where we're launching them from. And maybe we launch that one. Maybe we have another one like up here. Maybe there's one on its way out to the fishing platform or whatever it ends up being in the distance there, stuff like that. And one of the little features right here is this is supposed to look like it's like the balloon part. Maybe we're working on it, we're patching it up or working on it. There's a couple little dangling chains there that might eventually get attached to the bottom of a balloon. So I have like a work in progress balloon, but I don't have any real balloons in the sky here, which is a little bit silly. So let's take a quick ride on the roller coaster because why not? The backyard Bard attack. If anyone gets this inside joke, I'd be very surprised. But my first YouTube channel, originally it was called Bard. But then I went for Willow Wake instead, and I think Willow Wake is much better. Oh, here we go on the roller coaster. I love this thing. Could add some more details in here too. This part is like a little bit plain, and there's definitely like a dirt circle down there. But there's so much fun stuff. This roller coaster goes through so many fun little parts. Like we get to pass by one of the wells that we have in the world. We get to pop into the prison. Again, roller coaster going through the prison, certainly a choice. We get to pop into an underground cave here. Hey, what's up here, Matt? Welcome. We get to check out that prison cell from yet a third angle. And again, you can see it's right next to the vault, which is probably not the wisest choice. Then we go up here. We're now going to go up and around kind of the underside of this airship hangar that I was talking about. And we'll get a nice view of the ship and Will outtake on the Happy Gas out there. But then we do a nice leap of faith onto the thing that the crane was holding. Drop down on the ground for a bit of a reprieve. And oh, this is fun. I hadn't seen this before. I don't think I had seen the lighthouse peeking through. Yeah, you only get a couple glimpses of it, but that was cool. Maybe I'll try to emphasize those a little more. And then you head into the mine shaft. Ah, a bunch of TNT. Ooh. I think that system is out of TNT too, because there's supposed to be a bunch of explosions that you hear. So I'll have to fix that too. But lots of little fun moments as you're going along the roller coaster. Like, here comes the zombie, he's going to get me, but oh, he goes that way and I go this way. Wonderful. What a twist, what a treat. Nice little water area. Kind of a more dirt mining area where you slow down for a bit. There's like another one of those guys. And then you go up and out and up onto the top of this part. And now, big open question, and I'd love to hear people's thoughts. What should that be? Oh gosh, we're not going there yet. We're falling down because we're going to do an underwater section first. I love this roller coaster. It's so ridiculous and long, and there's so many different parts to it. But I got to scratch a lot of different roller coaster itches as I was building this. Got to try a bunch of cool roller coaster little techniques. Then we go into an amethyst geode here. Ooh, ah, how lovely. And then, of course, we go all the way up the water tower. Pop out the top of the water tower just as the sun is going down. Get a nice view of the industrial area. And then, oh, now it's a luge. Or, no, not a luge. What's it called? A flume? It's a flume. Now it's a flume. We go down here. We go down here all the way around. And now the question is, are there going to be fish in the way? Because sometimes there's fish right here blocking my way, but no, we're good. We go right across the water, skimming across the surface, all the way up here. And again, this is the question. We'll get a nice view of the ship as we emerge. Oh, and the lighthouse. I love that. That's my first time seeing that. That's really cool. But what should this part be? This is all just dirt right now. And you go back across, jump across the gap that you didn't quite make the first time around, which also I think is really satisfying, and go back down in. But what should that be over there? Something industrial, a big structure. We can make this roller coaster even longer and crazier. One idea that I had was like, I don't know, like a processing place for like sand or gravel or something. And finally, you pop out the top, you get a nice firework, congratulations, and a nice little ride again soon. So fun. I really do like that a lot. All right, let's sleep before I die. And by that, I mean before Will Outtake dies. Every Minecraft player dreams of a roller coaster around their world. Hey, you know, if you can dream it, you can build it. Will the roller coaster go by the lighthouse in the future? That's an interesting idea. I mean, I think like, I'm not sure if it would go all the way over there, but maybe the one that goes underneath, the one that we were looking at earlier where the piglins are trying to steal stuff, like maybe that could go around there or something. I'm not entirely sure. I like the idea of having a bunch of little different rides around the world. Okay, so yeah, so this is the airship hangar. The idea is I want to make some more hot air balloons and stuff, and I think I need to finish the rest of the roller coaster, and that's what I have. I'm saying gravel works there, but that doesn't really mean anything. Basically, the question is, it's looking through a cloud, but basically the question is, what should this final stretch of the roller coaster right here be? Because I think we have an opportunity to build something kind of cool that fits into the industrial theme, which we'll talk more about in a second, or it could fit into the pirate theme. You know, something else I was thinking about building was like a place where ships are being built or something down there. So that could be, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like a shipwright or whatever the word would be. Food for thought. Let me know your ideas. Let me know your thoughts. We are continuing our State of the Realm, and we have just a few more areas to look at. And these are some of the coolest areas coming up, I think, actually. So get excited. Next up, the spider cave. You knew it was coming. You knew the spider cave was coming. Let's take a look at it. And this one I definitely don't need the happy gas for. But nestled into the side of our mountain here is a cave. And the mouth of this cave needs to be made to look much cooler and more ominous. So that is definitely one of the first requirements here for sure. Right now, this is really big because I squeezed a happy ghast in there at one point. I'm really trying to lean into the happy ghast. But this is the spider cave. There has been no progress done in the spider cave since the spider cave video, or the spider hole video, which you may have seen. But yes, this is where you come in. This will be a tunnel, a spooky tunnel going all the way around. If you have arachnophobia and think that my building is good enough to trigger it, now is your official spider warning. I'll try to keep it out of view until the last possible moment. But basically, lots of twisting and winding passageways. These will all be deep, dark tunnels that get progressively spookier and webbier as you're going deeper and deeper. And then eventually, right around here, you'll be able to come out and see the spider. And the spider is one of my favorite builds I've ever made. I think the shape of it turned out so cool. I'm going to say a lot of the same things that I've said when I've talked about the spider on stream, which is it needs some contrast against the background. I think putting in a bunch of just white webbing behind it would probably go a lot of the way there. But I think the shape of it is incredible. I like the way that I got the legs to look the right shape by using bits of glass. I'm really proud of. I think the fangs and the eyes and everything looks really quite cool. Yeah, it'll be a totally claustrophobic path. There will be some parts that are a bit wider, probably some parts that are narrower. There'll probably be parts where you have to like squeeze through a web, you know, and maybe there will be like little spots when a spider on a minecart like pops out of you or something. But yes, I think the spider needs to stand out against the background a little bit more. It'll be easier once the rest of this cavern comes together. But this is obviously a spider spawner up here. So this entire chamber will get flooded with spiders as you're traversing the rest of the path on your way down here. Eventually you get down here, there'll be a ton of spiders. You'll fight your way through them. This is also technically a trident killer that could harvest string from the spiders if we wanted to do that, but I have plenty of string, so I don't know how much I'll use it for that. Yeah, low red lights behind it. I think that's a great idea. But yeah, I'm really happy to have this giant spider in here. This was one of my major achievements of the past year, I would say, was getting the spider in. And, you know, I wish I had as much time to play Minecraft and make videos as people who do it professionally full-time do. But, you know, I do what I can. And I'm really, really happy with how the spider turned out. I love that all the legs are a little bit different. I think that depending on how it looks, whether there's a web in there or lighting or whatever, I may end up changing the color of the glass panes to whatever blends into the background best. But something like that could be cool. Honey blocks for spider moving noise in tunnels. That's a really cool idea. I love that idea. And then you come over here and underneath the giant spider, this is the spider hole. And if you haven't watched it, go check out my video called The Spider Hole, which is all about building this and the spider. And jumping down here, and I happen to know that I can kind of cheat it and not get stuck in the web. Never mind. I got stuck in the web. But this hole has a cave spider spawner down here as well. This is kind of a cobweb farm where you drop down here, the spiders immediately get splashed with the weaving potion, which means as soon as you kill them, they spawn a bunch more webs around them. Hello, goodbye. You can grab shears and get a bunch of webs. You can try to kill spiders. And this will be kind of the gameplay loop of this area is you traverse all the way down, you leave your gear up above, you come down here, you try to get a bunch of cobwebs, kill a bunch of spiders. And then eventually when you die down here, there's hoppers underneath this whole floor. As you can see, it's mud and path blocks. So items will get picked up by the hoppers underneath them. And then all your items and all of the webs that you picked up and everything all go and get collected and will be returned to you basically at the entrance of the spider cave. So this is a really fun area. As you can tell from this little tour, not much progress, really no progress since the video. But yeah, this is that area where all your stuff ends up coming back to. And there we go. Look at that. We can actually see some string from those spiders and spider eyes coming from the spiders that I killed down there. It's very cool. Oh no, did the bitrate fall off? Hopefully it's all right. No. But yeah, that'll be a cool spot, I think. Obviously, there's a ton more to do in here. I really just need to start. I think if I start working on the entrance, it will inspire me. I had initially thought that I would do this whole project backwards, starting at the very end and working my way backwards. But what I found more recently that I've kind of been thinking about is the entrances to places actually really do matter from a motivation perspective, because if the first thing you're doing when you arrive at a spot is getting to something new that you did the last time you were working there, it's kind of fun, because that's such a big part of the fun of Minecraft, is just going around and seeing the stuff that you did and be like, oh, right, I built that. That's so cool. It wasn't here last time I was here. Oh yeah, the darkness, I'm sure. Man, YouTube with the darkness is so bad. So yeah, so lots to do here. Any ideas you have for anything? I love that the honey block idea is really cool. Any ideas for little exciting moments or little spooky moments or little interactions, little secrets and surprises along the way? I would love to hear what you guys have. I have some ideas, unsurprisingly, but you guys are also very creative. The entrance is a big part of the build. It really is true. And I'm not even close to nighttime yet. All right, let's continue our tour with the next area, which is, of course, we've been looking past it this entire time. It's the industrial district. And for this, we're gonna get our time-lapse cam here. Let's go check out the industrial area, because really this whole area is kind of the industrial area. You know, I talked about the airship hangar. There's that airship in progress, but it's also, you know, it's all of the infrastructure around it. It's the water tower. It's the trees being chopped down here. It's the logs being packaged up and carted away, and piles of mud and dirt and clay, and this whole operation, which you may have seen before. This whole operation is my mud making machine, where I have water from the water tower and dirt from the dirt pile, which you can make into mud, and it moves along a feed tape here onto these big pallets where it gets kind of dried out into clay. You can harvest all that clay. You can smelt it into bricks in the factory. And that's how I'm building all of these big factory structures, because this is really the heart of the industrial area. And I recommend checking out my video, Our Industrial Revolution, if you're interested in a bit more background on this area and a little bit of a deeper dive into some of the builds here. But obviously, it is very apparent as I'm floating around here that there's a lot to be done. And some very clear, like, outlines that don't look very good at the moment, but will hopefully look good eventually. And one of the things that looks honestly kind of worse, or the worst, is this angle where you can see all the farms, but it's totally not decorated at all. I did not do the back. I am ashamed to admit I did not do the back. Let me go sleep. Oh, let me go sleep so that you can get a slightly clearer view from this aerial angle without the terrible compression. But yeah, so clearly there's a lot to be done there. And if we switch back to the real me, we can go take a look at this a little bit closer and talk about what's been done recently and what there still is to do, because there's a lot still to do. There's definitely a lot still to do here. But I really like this area. I think, you know, being able to hop through this little hole in the fence to get in is very fun, and make sure that this area is safe. And there are a lot of things in this area that I want to do and improve. Obviously, the stone floor is a big one. We need to start adding some texture, some detail, some little moments, some little areas of interest. One of them that I've started to do is this back area here, where this fence looks like it was pushed or moved out of the way, kind of broken. And you can go out here and you can get a perfect view of the horrible, unfinished back of this giant factory. But you may have seen one of my shorts where we have a kelp farm here, and a bunch of the kelp comes flinging out of the back here and then goes up that pipe, and it's kind of fun. So I want to decorate this, and I think something like a waste treatment or a, waste processing, refinement, some kind of system back here that is polluting this water that also just happens because of the biomes to be like a little bit green in this area, right? You have this bright blue river. I don't know if this is coming through in the stream, but there's this bright blue river water, and then there's this kind of murky greenish swamp water. And I think that, I guess it's not a swamp, I don't know what it is, it's spruce forest or something, but I think if with the correct background we could really emphasize that green, that kind of green watercolor. And I think the idea that this factory is just polluting is a really funny idea. You should center the beacon in the middle building. Yeah, I don't know what to do with all my beacons. I kind of want to get, oh, hey, I can see myself in the camera. I want to get rid of all my beacon beams because I'm not a fan of any of them. But yeah, this is one area that I would love to do, is just pollute this river. If you have ideas for stuff to make that look cool, I'm certainly all ears. But you can, in theory, oh, see, I made this area mob proof and now I can't get back out. So that's one area. This is obviously the most completed building. We have a kelp farm. I guess there's a couple things. We have a moss farm back here that is producing infinite bone meal. The bone meal goes into the moss farm, gets us tons of moss. It all goes over here into a super smelter. There's a trident there. That, I believe, is the trident for my creaking trident killer, which is broken at the moment, unfortunately. There's supposed to be a creaking in that window right there. And it's in like a little trident killer area where at night it hits the creaking, and there's a tiny little resin farm that just harvests resin every night when I'm standing here. But unfortunately, the creaking mechanics seem to have changed since I built it, and the creaking keeps like despawning and teleporting to different places. So I'm going to have to experiment more with that. But I think this looks pretty cool. I've been trying to do more detailed building. This is obviously very detailed, verging on block vomit, maybe, but like I think it looks really cool. And I think for this scale, when you're up close like this, it looks pretty good. And I want to continue this level of detail to the rest of the buildings here. So obviously, iron farm here, gold farm there. There's a pumpkin and melon farm in the background. We've got a cactus farm here. And in the middle is kind of an old tree farm that I don't really use so much anymore. But the reason that I have not built anything here since the Industrial Revolution video that I put out is because what we built in that video was this storage system at the center here. And I think I have finally re-engineered this thing to work properly. And it looks like it's working. I think I finally fixed it, and I'm so happy. This thing has been the bane of my existence. This is now on the 4th iteration of the redstone mechanics, the redstone design for this thing. And it's not even the golem's fault, which is funny. You'd think it would be the copper golems, but really it's the item filter. And for some reason, I don't know if it's a Bedrock Edition thing. I don't know if let's be real, it's probably a Bedrock Edition thing. But for some reason, I had a normal kind of item filter that was pulling items out of the categorizer chests. This is the deepest I'll go in any redstone, I promise, if you're not into this kind of thing. But these are categorizer chests where all of the different items that the golems are able to sort are stored. And supposedly you should be able to just throw a normal item filter on these basically. But for some reason, when I had hoppers underneath them, even though they were locked and they were always locked, and there was no reason that they should be unlocked when the area loaded. For some reason, when the area loaded, if I like flew away and came back or like logged in here, the hoppers were pulling for just like one tick, they were being unpowered and they were pulling something out and it was breaking the whole system and it was making it so that I could not use the storage system and it was driving me insane. And so I finally fixed it, I'm pretty sure, by doing a couple things. One was I made it so that this whole thing fits inside this chunk now. It was one block outside the chunk before. And in hindsight, I don't actually think that's what the issue was, but hopefully that just like removes another variable. So now this is all one chunk, this whole system. And instead of locking and unlocking a hopper with redstone by powering it, I'm making use of the fact that in Bedrock Edition, we have these movable block entities. We have these movable redstone components. I am literally just pushing in and retracting the piston when I need to use it as an item filter. And it's so silly and it's totally over-engineered, but it actually works because now when this area loads, I'm really hoping that this continues to be true. But now when this area loads, the hopper is literally not underneath the chest. So it cannot pull anything out, even if it's incorrectly unpowered for one tick or whatever. So I'm hoping that this design actually finally fixes the issue. And I had to adjust the like item elevator stuff a little bit to fit the new filter design up there. But generally this is it. And it looks complicated. It's basically just an item filter and then an item elevator. And finally, hopefully, it's fixed. And that should be exciting for all of you industrial area fans, because the reason I haven't been building anything here is because I haven't had a working storage system in this area, and I can't work if I don't have a working storage system. It drives me crazy. So now hopefully we'll be able to do it. And I literally only fixed this thing like yesterday, 2 days ago. So very recent development, very exciting development, hopefully. I've been testing it. I'll keep testing it, but get excited because I would love to do some more industrial area stuff. And if I'm going to make a big video, I don't know. I don't want to make promises, but if I'm going to make a video where I do like another big build or something, I would love for it to be one of these factory buildings. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Catch up on chat real quick. What kind of farms do you have? Yeah, so I listed off a bunch of the farms here. Honestly, Moss Farm is like the best farm because you get infinite bone meal, and then from there you can make so many different other farms, like anything that takes bone meal. So this is all just a Moss Farm. And between Moss Farm and a moss-powered kelp farm, you also have infinite fuel for a smelter, in addition to infinite bone meal for any kind of other plant-based farms, which is really cool. You could maybe use sulfur cubes with green glass in them that cycle through some pipes to make it look like green waste is being pushed in the water. That's an awesome idea. That's a really, really cool idea. I'm definitely going to run with that. Holy redstone knowledge. Yeah, Bedrock. Bedrock is what it is. And you got to work within the confines of what you've been given. But finally, I think this works. Okay, so that's the industrial area. Obviously, big ambitions, big plans there. But I'm really excited to have these like giant outlines that at this point have been here for, at least 6 months. I'd love for those to start to turn into actual buildings. So hopefully having the storage system working will make that way easier. So that's what I got here. Let's see. I wrote goldsmith as a potential design for like the gold farm, dye house or something. Honestly, could be a way to use like some of the slimes as well, like slimes or I guess sulfur cubes. The fact that you can put different like stuff in them, like to make them a different color, is really interesting. I need to think about that more. And I haven't had many good ideas for what to do with sulfur cubes, so that's a great idea. But yeah, the cactus farm over there could also have like some green, dye or something, green slime coming out of it. Foliage farms, that's something that I want to do. Because we have infinite bone meal over there, there's a lot of different things, as I was mentioning, that you can farm infinite of if you have infinite bone meal. And I think doing that all over there would make sense, just like a little area where maybe some grass has has broken through into the industrial zone, and you can just stand there and get a bunch of grass, you know? Could be really cool. And I could do that for a lot of the different farmable things. Ironworks to decorate the iron farm. Some kind of factory square, definitely necessary. You know, I think designing that center area, I don't even know if it will end up being a tower. I'm kind of waffling on that. I might end up getting rid of the tree farm in the middle that I don't use that much anyway, and just turning it into something that's more kind of ground level in the middle and then have the height around the edges. And I definitely want lots of big smokestacks, okay? We're definitely having smokestacks. And then, of course, ground pass, because I got to figure out what the ground is. Right now, it is very stone torch spam nightmare, and I don't want it to look like that anymore. Oh my gosh, my camera account's getting attacked by phantoms. I got to sleep. Is he going to fall and die before I sleep? Hopefully not. If he does, I'll try to switch over there in real time and catch it in action. So that is the industrial district. Probably one of the first things that I'm going to start working on for this second half of 2026. This is the state of the realm 2026 after all. But now that I finally have that storage system fixed, I'm excited to get working in there. The channel Sit Back in Minecraft does some cool things with software cubes. Awesome. Yeah, I'll check it out. Thanks for the rec. Okay. And now I believe the final thing to look at in this area, and maybe the thing that I wrote the most ideas about, because it's another area that I'm really excited about at the moment, is of course, the abandoned village. The abandoned village. And I'm going to go ahead and actually just log out the camera account, because I think we're done with them. And that way I don't need to worry about nighttime, because we should really see the village at nighttime. So I'm going to just let this day go by and keep talking. But then when it starts to get nighttime, I'll try to turn the brightness up so that so that the compression's not terrible. If I don't do that, please remind me. And we'll get to see the village at nighttime too. But I have some ideas for this, and I want to talk about some of them with you. So this, right in front of the castle, is the abandoned village. And it is the first thing that we see. And you may have seen, again, I have a video. It's called The Abandoned Village. Check it out. But the first thing that you see when you come out of my bedroom, which is in there, is this village right here. And I think it looks pretty good. It's a normal village. These used to all be oak houses, but we transformed them into this kind of dark oak, kind of spooky, a little bit witchy style. And I think a lot of it is really cool. And it's like 75% of the way to being what I ultimately kind of want it to be. But I think there are some areas for improvement, and there's some cool ideas, and I'm excited about them too. And there's a couple things that I've been doing in here that I want to show you too. So the first thing is the new thing at the center, which I don't know exactly what it is, but it's appropriately creepy, I think. And I think it's going to stay. I think it's going to stay. You walk around this corner as you're heading into this world. You pass the cemetery, or I guess technically this is a graveyard. I learned the distinction recently. You go past the graveyard, you head into the village, you see this strange thing at the center, and the vibes are a little spooky. So, there's some things I've been thinking about here, and some of them are kind of radical. One of them is, I kind of want to replace all of this grass with podzol. I know, it might sound a little crazy. But hear me out, and let's look at what it would look like. Because right now, in the daytime, which is not really the ideal form to be looking at the village, frankly, but in the daytime, it looks a little too green, I think. I don't mind the green of the trees. I think these trees with their little points and stuff are like kind of fun and a little bit witchy. But I don't think that the green grass works. And I had the idea to just replace a lot of the grass with podzol. And I gotta lie. No, the opposite. I gotta confess. I like it, I think. I like it. And it doesn't mean that we can't have real grass on top, you know? And I think that kind of looks cool because it's kind of like the trees with their green leaves, you know, it still works. I know that I'm probably triggering people by breaking these grass blocks with my fist instead of getting out a shovel. But I do think that just for daytime, because nighttime is cool. Like nighttime in the village, it works already. But for the daytime, I think the podzol might be good. And I was playing around in creative and I was just using the fill, like replace command. And I replaced a bunch of it with podzol and I actually think it looks cool. So we might have to do this. And this might be something that we have to do on stream as well, because that is going to be a nightmare. Or I guess it maybe should be something that I do while watching a movie. So thinking about that, I'm thinking about that. I've continued to work on these trees. I've continued to make more of that. Some of them a bit more custom. I basically I grow a dark oak tree and then I reshape the leaves a little bit to make them look more weird and witchy and spooky. And I think it works. There's a couple more to do, like, yeah, these ones, I guess, but I've tried to do a lot of them. You may have also seen I have ideas for red eyes in the distance, and I was playing around with that in creative too, especially with having some mist. You can see the mist in the distance here. And I was playing in creative with even more layers of mist. It really gets a nice fog effect. So I think that's also a move. We surround this whole village with fog, you know, mist that is impenetrable. You can't see through it. And there's just some red, creepy, glowing eyes in the mist. I think that'd be really fun. I was also playing on stream last time, or maybe the time before, with the sulfur for this little pool pond here. I like the idea that there's a pond, or a pool, or whatever you want to call it in this village that kind of makes you nauseous. It just feels right. So the effect is not... Oh, there we go. Now we're getting it. Oh, boy. Yeah, so I need to work more on blending it in because that yellow is very yellow. You could see some of the colors that we were playing with on stream a couple times ago to try and blend. I don't think I will really put scaffolding in the water, but maybe having some of this dried grass around, maybe trying to do something with a little bit of bamboo. I'm not entirely sure. But I think it could be cool. We also built this well, which you may have seen. I built this well somewhere recently. And this was the area where in creative, I swapped out all this grass for podzol and it actually looked really cool. So I think I may end up doing that. But yeah, this is our well, our second well in the realm. And I kind of want to go even deeper with that. Someone, I think in the last stream, had the idea to have all of it was a reference to some video game or some anime or something, I forget which, but the idea was that all of the houses could secretly have like a tunnel or like a ladder that leads down, and they all lead into the same underground like ritual area. That could be very fun. And somewhere over there in the distance, underground, I found 3 cave spider spawners all next to each other. So I kind of want to make something with those. And the best idea that I have so far is spawn a bunch of them, corral them in an area, splash them with invisibility so that you just see their glowing red eyes, kind of like the eyes you'd see in the mist, and sick them on you, you know? And it'd be like getting chased by a bunch of spirits or ghosts or something. And I think that could be pretty fun. The other thing that I have been thinking about recently, I've been having lots of ideas for the village. So we're probably going to do a lot of village stuff pretty soon. But this area right here, you may have seen in the lighthouse video, we get this incredible view of the lighthouse in the distance right there between those 2 cliffs. And it makes me want to do something with this area. And I've been playing around a little bit, so hopefully you'll see some of this stuff soon. I've been playing around with like dead farmland with like scarecrows in it for back here. Because it would make sense, right? You know, a little bit off the beaten path they would have had some farmland and stuff. But since this is an abandoned village, it would all be dead and maybe cursed or diseased at this point. So that is probably something that I'll try to do over here. And if we do end up going Podzol for everything, we'll have to try and blend it all in. So that could be pretty fun. That could be pretty fun, I think. We also have the bell tower, or the clock tower, which I was just watching, I was watching Tango's latest video where he, in a single episode of Hermitcraft, built like a village, or as much of his village that is like the size of this, but just like so cool and detailed and custom and perfect and atmospheric and just incredible. And if you're not watching Tango already, go watch Tango. My gosh, it's insane the stuff he's doing. But I was very impressed by that. And one of the things I saw him do was he used a lead. He used like a bell and a lead coming down from a fence post to a boat that was like underground. And it looked like a rope attached to a bell. So I think I might try to do something like that in here, because this feels like a natural place to have a bell with like a rope coming down. And it'd be fun if I could squeeze in some actual like redstone music or something, which could even be on a daylight sensor or a clock or something. You know, maybe it's playing some ominous or eerie chime throughout the day. And that is pretty much it. And let me turn the brightness up before I forget, because I can see the sun is going down. I want us to be able to explore the village a little bit in the nighttime, because that's really when it's meant to be seen. But there, the moon is coming up, the sun is going down, and you know, I usually play on brightness 30, so this will be a little bit less moody maybe, but I think honestly with the YouTube compression, it'll still look pretty dark for you all. But this is the way in, you know, this is the main, when you first are arriving in the realm, you come from over there and you come over here. And this is pretty much the first thing you see is you walk past this church graveyard. You walk this way, you see that strange, eerie thing at the center of this village. Your view is kind of framed. Like I have nothing in the background there intentionally so that you can just see this thing in the middle kind of perfectly. And it just kind of leads you in to the village. And we also have a bunch of hidden firefly bushes all around. So as you're walking and traversing the paths of the village, you're starting to see little fireflies around. You know, maybe go this way. This is something that I've been doing recently, is putting bits of packed mud in grass or in dirt cliff sides like this. Because like a lot of times you have just a flat grass wall. I keep saying grass. You have a flat dirt wall and it doesn't look that great by itself, but throwing just a few pieces of packed mud in there can make it look much more intentional and much more like it's, oh yeah, that's just a dirt. That's a really tough mud, dirt, kind of cliff face there. Ah! Excuse me. All right. I think that's pretty much it. That is mostly the state of the realm. None of the interiors of any of these houses are done. Ah! So we got to do all of those. Having some kind of tunnel system underneath that connects them all, I think would be really fun. The well naturally should connect to that. I was really inspired by the beneath the well level in what's it called? Ocarina of Time under Kakariko Village. So it could be fun to do something like that. Like that is the creepiest area ever. Having some ritual area underneath here that feels like that could be very fun, I think. Focusing on the sight lines, getting in the walls of mist here, kind of containing this village, probably replacing all of the glass with podzol so that it feels even more gloomy and abandoned, even in the daytime. These are all ambitions that I have for the village. And I think that they would take it from cool and like fairly cohesive to like really, you know, tight and well designed. So I'm excited for that. And I do want to do it. We obviously also have the church. We have our windmill here. The windmill does not have an interior. The church does have an interior that has been here for quite a while, and I think still holds up and looks pretty cool. You know, maybe we could do some cushions or something in here at some point. But that is pretty much it, my friends. That is pretty much it. And I hope that this has been a fun experience for you guys and a little bit of a world tour. As I mentioned at the start, and I'll change my brightness back and do a quick sleep here again as well, because we want 30 brightness, because that's the correct brightness according to B-dubs, and B-dubs is right about everything. That is pretty much the state of the realm. Some big things that I did not show today, obviously, and I mentioned these at the top, but we did not go look at the end spaceship at all, and I do have some exciting plans for that, which will probably be a video pretty soon. And by pretty soon, I mean before the end of the year. So don't read too much into that. The swamp house and the whole horror thing we've got going on over there, still something I'm really excited about. Still something that I want to keep working on for sure. The Nether Bazaar. Honestly, part of the reason I needed this was so I could get massive quantities of quartz from Piglin bartering for slabs and stairs at the casino, which if they're adding concrete slabs and stairs is not as big of a priority. So we'll see when I get to this, but it would be fun to do. And then, of course, I broke my correct painting here, but the Shining Barrens Resort and Casino, the hotel, that is still something I'm really excited about. That is something where I have done a bunch of stuff which I have not shown yet, which I will have to show in a stream soon. But yeah, those are a lot of the ongoing projects around here. The destroyed greenhouse, those farms in the distance, the lighthouse. Check out the lighthouse video. I'm very proud of it. The pirate invasion, we've got some fun ideas. The airship hangar and the roller coaster. Spider cave, we got to keep working on it. Industrial district, I'm so happy my storage system over there is finally working. I'm very excited to do more stuff there very soon. And then, of course, the abandoned village, which I've been having a lot of fun with recently. So thank you so much for joining me for this, our State of the Realm 2026. I hope that this has been a fun experience for you all. I hope it's been a nice stream. Thank you for bearing with me. I got a little bit of a late start. And that's pretty much going to be it for today. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. And I'm flying very far into the distance, and I might crash into something, but it will not be a giant SpongeBob. See y'all later. Bye.